Thank you for joining us live at Microsoft 365 EduCon Seattle. And I say Seattle because I want you to call out and say where you are from in any of the chats that you're listening in on. We're, of course, in Seattle. And we've had a good conversation about Canada. Canada is a big place, and we've been calling out Canada as a single entity, and Vlad's called us out on it. So, Vlad, how should we be doing this?
Oh, now I can say I'm from Montreal, Canada. This way you only highlight the Quebec province and not all of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did feel important when I said I'm from Montreal, and you're like, let's highlight all of Canada, all 30 million people. That felt good, but still, shout out to everybody else that's not from Quebec as well. And now you can light up your own province on the map.
So definitely start calling out exactly where you are in Canada, and we'll light up your sections. Behind the scenes with us, we have our excellent audiovisual and events and social media over in Georgia and in Romania. So no matter where you're from, go ahead and plug that in the chat, and we will get this map lit up. But more importantly, this has been a fun last couple of days. We just got finished with the labs for the last 2 days, right? You did a few labs.
I had 2 full-day workshops. It was really around the basics of day one was getting started with Microsoft 365. Kind of a lot of people from on-prem going from SharePoint as the center of collaboration to now you go to Microsoft 365, and what you used to do in only SharePoint, you got 10 different apps. And then you have planner to do, project to manage tasks, and a lot of people wanted to just learn, okay, where do I go for what? And the day 2 was power user. So, okay, now that you know what everything is, how do you actually configure it for what you need? And I love doing those before the conference because after that, people can say, okay, these are the things I need to learn for my company, and go to sessions and actually learn in depth. So they don't need to go to the basics anymore. They can really go to more advanced sessions and ask questions that are more specific to what they need.
Yeah, and you had 2 separate sessions. I myself arrived early because I wanted to attend some of these sessions. You don't get this level of interaction. The last 30 minutes of almost every hour was us just getting to sit and ask these MVPs and other industry experts. All right, so I understand what you just said, but just to make sure, Can I repeat this to you? And they will clarify, and you get insights on your individual problems that you just never got from the virtual events.
I think that's the benefit, really, of in-person conferences, even versus Pluralsight, where I create a lot of content. The content will always be there, but the real benefit you get from paying to be at a conference is being able to ask specific questions to your scenarios and network with people, get ideas. So I always tell people, ask all the questions you need because that's what you're here for. The content is elsewhere, but you don't have access to the amount of experts that you have here.
So you make a good point. It's not just about the technical content, but the networking, which really opens up this conference to not just the technical admins, but people looking for a solution to a problem they may not have known they had to begin with. Or maybe they're paying for applications, but Microsoft enterprise licensings come with a ton of backend beyond just Outlook and looking at your email and SharePoint sites and your OneDrive. There's tons of applications to get more out of it and maybe replace some of those applications and get the budget to replace some of those applications.
Yeah, and it's funny, we continue to get that question, especially for those E3 and E5 licenses, right? There's always the question, okay, well, I'm sold into this idea that there's lots of built-in goodness, there's built-in functionality in E3 and E5. So why really do I need that backup, right? And it's about granular recovery. It's about more control, right? It's about the ability to recover where and when you need, ultimately having that flexibility.
It's a great plug at who we are, Veeam Backup. So we do backup from Microsoft 365, and Vlad's been a rock star working with us on the Microsoft 365 release for version 6. He stuck out with us. We wanted to make sure it was right, and the project went a little longer than expected. But it is now officially out, and we're super excited. We have the self-service portal and the backup copy feature to low-cost object storage. Edward, tell me why you're excited about it.
Well, version 7, these are some of the highly requested features from our customers, right? The ability to empower their users to restore their own data with this self-service restore portal, save them time, cut down on those individual restores of those users. And that process typically doesn't look like a very simple process, right, Vlad? I mean, what does that process look like?
Traditionally, open up a ticket,
Yeah.
wait for
Yeah.
the admin to get to it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
by the time you actually get your documents back, you give up and you recreated everything.
You recreate the whole thing because
Yeah.
you're just waiting the whole time, right?
And then
So
the IT people make fun of you because you
Exactly.
messed up again.
Right, right.
But,
So just a simple centralized location. You can send users. More importantly, they're not breaking anything.
exactly.
Right.
That's the
You're
cool
keeping
thing.
the environment secure, but they can restore again what they need. And Veeam makes it easy enough where they can do that.
That's really the golden thing is
Right.
giving them a sandbox that you control.
Sure.
They have all the permissions they need to be productive, but still not break anything. So
Sure.
IT people can still sleep at night without getting
Right.
worried that people will mess things up. And that's been the awesome part for me.
Absolutely.
So it's not just self-service restore. You guys are kind of teasing if there is that extra feature to do restore operations on behalf of other people.
Right.
Now you can't do any type of exfiltration of that data, but you can do restore operations for those, mind you, less technical people that we work with on a daily basis out there, and give that right to someone in their department without giving them elevated rights in the Microsoft 365 backend, like SharePoint Administrator, where they can do a lot more things you don't want them to do in there
We do a lot
than
of
to just
damage.
do restore operations in their infrastructure.
Right. And the second feature in version 6 is our backup copy, right? Being able to not only get a traditional backup, but get a separate copy of that backup and send that on a lower cost object storage, such as Glacier or Azure Archive. We know that IT admins are hanging on, they're told to hang on to data for longer and longer periods of time, right? Even forever in some cases. So
Forever doesn't exist.
forever doesn't exist, right?
Except in Disney.
Right, exactly. But no, I think a lot of customers have been asking for, how do I not only save costs, but be able to meet my organization's requirements. So it's something very important. Obviously today we're extremely storage agnostic. If you want to store in Azure, AWS with a service provider, S3 compatible, we enable you to do that. But with this additional storage to lower cost tiers, very, very vital for customers out there.
It's great that you can actually move data to even another cloud provider.
Sure,
So this way you don't have everything in a single place, and you get to save money when you
Absolutely.
keep that data. Because let's be honest, after maybe 90 days, you might need the data, but it doesn't happen as often.
Yeah.
So you can still have it, but not pay a ton of money on hot storage.
Absolutely.
So we've had a great conversation about being back for Microsoft 365, but it's important to call out we do a lot of other types of backups. And if you have questions and you happen to be at this event or VeeamON next week, feel free to come up, ask us questions. We always have great prizes.
Yeah, so we've actually got a Anycubic Viper 3D printer available, and that'll be our raffle giveaway that we're giving away Thursday at 1:30 p.m. So if you've ever wanted to get into the 3D hobby, which are you into?
I want to get into it, but I was going to say, can I print custom shoes, Veeam shoes with it? Or
Sure.
I think for those of you who don't know, I think that's something you're giving away to people next week at VeeamON. There was a giveaway for that.
So if you were one of our early birds before May 1st and you signed up to come to VeeamON, whether it was virtual or in person, you got entered a chance to win the Air Force One shoes.
Right.
I don't have these shoes. Edward doesn't have these shoes.
No.
We've been
I
begging
have
for
custom
these
Air Force Ones, but
nice.
not
green
these.
shoes.
They're kind of green.
Yeah,
But
so
for
these are
next
very
year-
exclusive, beautiful Air Force One sneakers. You definitely want to make sure you get a pair of those.
So next year, everybody must register early.
Absolutely.
That's when they get a
Yeah,
chance.
absolutely. Yeah.
So we have our first map ready, and we're going to get that pulled up here. And it looks
Canadians.
like so far we have Florida, Ohio, and another call out for Georgia. Then Mexico, Heading over, we got Namibia and Pakistan.
Cool. Very cool.
I'll actually be in.
If you haven't already called out, definitely light up in the chat where you're from. We'll get this map updated and show who's all listening and where you're listening in from.
I'll actually be in Mexico next month. There's a Microsoft 365 event.
I heard about that. That's a SharePoint Saturday, right?
Oh, it's a Microsoft 365 Cloud Friday. Something like that. Something like that. I think eventually they talked about it in the keynote. It will be Microsoft Community Days. They're kind of putting it together something a bit more tech agnostic and more generic, but we'll see where that goes in the next few months.
So we have collab days and then community days?
Collab days, community days, Cloud Fridays, Cloud Saturdays. And
is there a website we can keep up with this on?
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be
but
cool.
That's what Microsoft is actually working on. They talked about it in the keynote again. They want to make a repository for all of the community.
That would be good. That would be
good. So that would be awesome. Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
So we're excited for VMon next week. We got
our big event
sessions. I fly directly from here down. I think you do too,
yeah.
Vlad. We're all going to be there next week. And if you haven't already registered, you can actually register completely free online for our virtual event. Or if you want to come join us in person, registration is still open for now until we fill up for the in-person event down in Vegas, the 16th to 19th. Now, I would venture to say probably one of the most important days is actually the 19th.
Why is that?
So, first of all, we got our technical keynote, but that evening we have the legendary Beam Party.
I know the date. I haven't looked into any of the details yet, but I heard, like you said, legendary.
It is legendary, and we're back live in person, and we're showing up and showing that we are back live in person with partners, customers, and people that might be a little bit new to Veeam. All of these communities together, we have a great vendor and expo hall with tons of prizes for not just our in-person event, but our online event as well. And it looks like the party's actually at the Dari's nightclub on the 18th.
Yeah, Dry's nightclub on the 18th. Yeah.
We're all too excited for the party. We haven't looked at it in detail.
No,
like, just follow the crowd.
This isn't the only party that we're having. If you check out and you connect with some of our vendors, there are many vendor get-togethers. Definitely get with your vendor, maybe get some information about the new technology that they're able to offer. And lots of service providers. We got experts in the back end. Our service providers do some things with our software that our development never thought were possible in some cases. And we get all of this great feedback from them. They have these real world scenarios. I have one with David Klua. He is going to give the perspective of scaling up to an enterprise edition of Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 for service providers and making sure that it's secure along the way. These are real world scenarios that he ran into, his plugs from his customers, the way to get the fastest backup and restore absolutely possible from within the software. We have a couple sessions.
Two sessions together.
Yeah.
One of them on reporting?
Yes. Reporting and monitoring, not just from the console on our side, but you're going to show off how you can go into the administration portal, right?
I'll show you all of the out-of-the-box stuff. Corinne will show you all of the Veeam stuff. This way you really get the full picture.
There's not everything. You have to go into your environment to understand your environment. You can't always rely on a single piece of software. You got to get into the native tools. And Edward, we have a fantastic session plugging again at the V6 release.
Yeah, what's new in V6? So we did touch on V6 earlier, but on Tuesday we will have a much deeper dive on V6. And of course, Corinne will be giving some demos. So you'll get to see it live and some live demos.
So yes, there will be many demos, but there's more than that. We've done many sessions and a lot of work on the background to create this virtual event that is really interactive for the end user. So we did tons of recorded sessions that will be posted live so that we have live Q&A from our background staff. So even if you have questions on our virtual environment, you're going to be able to have someone immediately getting back to you, expanding on topics that you want to get into. And if you are live in person, my favorite part is we're going to have like a puppy center where we can go spend time with these service animals, and it's part of our charity and giving back to the community. So if you can't find me, I'm probably going to be over at the puppy pen. Just need a moment. I have this puppy.
Yeah.
What are you excited about for VMUN?
You know, there's people in my organization who I have not seen for 2.5 years. And, you know, some people on my team who I've never even met before.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing them, looking forward to speaking with customers, partners as well that I haven't seen in a long time as well. And of course, getting to spend time with Vlad again.
In Vegas. In Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah.
And what are you excited for?
Well, first of all, Vegas.
Vegas.
Lots of friends from the community,
Yeah.
like you mentioned,
Yeah.
like Dave Kaula, who is a Canadian MVP, but seems he's not always at those events. I haven't seen him in forever, so really looking forward to seeing some the community again.
Great. There's also people in other departments of my company that we both started and COVID hit very rapidly, and I never got to meet them in person, but we talk constantly on Teams in the back end. We're going to be there. We're going to go see shows together. Like, it's going to be a great get back out there, show that we are a strong, and I think our new motto is one team. We're ready to show off our one team motto.
Definitely.
So we have a new map ready. More people are joining us.
Okay.
It's extremely exciting. We have Tennessee and California now on the map here in the States.
Still no Canada.
Still no Canada. Where are you in Canada, brother?
I don't know. I think it's because you didn't highlight the provinces last time. They didn't want to show up. They're
Right.
like, we only need one to
Right.
represent everything.
Yeah.
So we have Brazil, Mexico. We got another one from Mexico, and Uruguay. And now across, we have Saudi Arabia. Awesome. We might have one more lighting up here. I see some typing in the chat. If it is, I will definitely call those out because it's just as important.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're excited for VMUN. We're excited to be here at this event. It's about being in person, being live, and us streaming about our experiences and the reasons why to come back, the reasons why to be here in person, and the tremendous benefit. We get not just the giveaways, which are very nice, but what are your closing thoughts on why someone should be back in person? What is the number one benefit?
Yeah, I think nothing really can replace just being in person and sharing that human experience, you know, and just being face to face and being able to discuss the technologies that we all love and all of the technologies we're learning about. So I think for me, it's just, you know, getting to share a beer with somebody over great technology. That's to me is what it's all about.
What about you?
Seeing everybody in person again, building those connections. As much as I love the idea of virtual events and how you can get so many people to participate, it's not the same thing, especially as a speaker, speaking to a room full of people, seeing people's faces versus just looking at your screen alone at home, not the same thing. So just networking with people, taking beers, going to nice restaurants with people, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The food is a good call out.
The
I
food,
love
yes.
good food and going out to find good places. So if you're near Seattle and you got a recommendation to go eat, we're here for a couple more nights, and he's paying.
Yeah.
I would say definitely getting the authentic interactions. I am a huge fan of education, learning, and it's just not the same learning when you're behind the screen. Your questions don't get answered the same way. Even if you open up the mics to end people, there was just something missing in that engagement, and us sharing ideas is how we're like, you know, I know how that works. I know how that works, but I had no thought process to put those together to create this tool that solved a problem I've had for months.
Yeah.
You just have these collaborations in a room, everyone talking. It's amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, we want to thank everyone that joined us here on the live stream, except for Canada.
I know. Can you light up Canada for me? My heart is still in Montreal.
Yeah.
And definitely join us Friday we have a Tech Bites with Rick Vanover and David Hill. They're going to be giving you the final, like, what you need to know. Get prepared for VeeamON, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. You should definitely come check this out. During next week, we won't have any of our traditional sets, but we will have VeeamON Today. It's going to be our Today show for VeeamON, telling you what you're missing, what you need to check out, the key aspects to get involved with. And from what I understand, our events team, our audiovisual team has been put to the test by saying we want to hot swap people. So you get to watch us perform this entire show on this Today show. It'll be very entertaining.
Are you going to bring up the puppies on the show? Or?
If they let me have a puppy, I'll come be on the show.
Okay.
I just need a puppy to pet. Well, thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you, everybody.